Good evening, everybody. This is Casper from the Tropical Weather Threat Society bringing you our nightly update regarding the tropics and some couple areas of interest out here into the Atlantic Basin. So, first thing I want to do is I do want to note that the National Hurricane Center has Tropical Storm Erin on the board, and we're going to spend the majority of our time discussing that. But I first want to discuss our little Invest 98L out here into the Bay of Campeche. As we can see, it is currently running with a 40% chance of development. Now, it says over 48 hours and 7 days. Folks, this has got about 24 hours before it reaches land. But regardless of development, it does seem like with the pulsing of this thunderstorm activity that has been persistent since it was in the Western Caribbean, crossing over the Yucatan Peninsula and now emerging out here into the southwestern portions of the Gulf, it does seem like that a lot of convection and a lot of heavy showers and thunderstorms, regardless of development, should accompany this as it moves into southern portions of Texas. But the models have not picked up on the potential rainfall yet. So, unfortunately, it looks like that we're going to have to kind of now cast this and fly blind on this particular invest. Now, we did have hurricane reconnaissance into Invest 98L earlier this afternoon. And you'll notice with these circles right here, we've got a group of circles here, we've got another group of circles right in here, and another group of circles here. All of these are basically surface vortices at this point. Now, obviously, the plane, all these weren't at the same time. The plane, and it came in like this, made a trip like this, came down, came back up, came through, came across, and then came back this way. So it is plausible that some of this is all kind of one big area. So right now, I would imagine with kind of the satellite presentation, they may kick this up just a notch at the 8 p.m. outlook. But we're going to be keeping a very close watch on it regardless. Right now, it has a 40% chance, and that's what we're looking at right now. It's going to be more of a now casting thing, and we'll know a lot more when we get it up underneath U.S. radar as well, out of Brownsville. So let's go ahead and jump into the top story, the main topic of tonight's live, and that is Tropical Storm Erin. Now, Tropical Storm Erin, there has been some optimistic signs today. We currently have a reconnaissance flight on its way there. We're currently at a little past 16.5 north and closing in on 52 degrees west. Well, that is kind of interesting because Erin is sitting at 16.7 and 51.2. So if we compare that back, we still got a little bit to go, but I would imagine that we will see something during the live, and we will come back to this. It updates every 10 minutes, so hopefully we'll get at least something from the beginning. Now, as of the 5 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time, Eastern Daylight Time, 4 p.m. Central Daylight Time, primary advisory for Tropical Storm Erin, we have now got our tropical storm watches have been issued for portions of the northern Leeward Islands here. And we'll go over those in particular with the public advisory and get all of the information from there. Now, as you can see here, we are still forecast to turn to the north and become a major hurricane with the rate of intensification potentially slowing as we get into Monday and Tuesday, which honestly, it's already a major hurricane. So anything that's going to slow down intensification at that point will be welcomed. No question about that. So let's go over the key messages for Erin here as of the 5 p.m. advisory. We now have 3 today. Key message number one: heavy rainfall across the northernmost Leeward Islands, the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, as well as southern and eastern Puerto Rico, may lead to isolated flash and urban flooding, along with landslides or mudslides this weekend, early into next week. Number two: tropical storm conditions are possible for portions of the northern Leeward Islands where tropical storm watches are in effect. Beginning on Saturday, as the core of Erin passes north of those islands, tropical storm conditions could also occur in portions of the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico later in the weekend. Additional watches may be required tonight or on Friday. And number three: while there is still uncertainty in what impacts might occur in portions of the Bahamas, the east coast of the United States, and Bermuda next week, the risk of dangerous surf and rip currents across the western Atlantic basin next week is increasing. As far as the dangerous surf and rip currents, yes, it's not necessarily increasing. It's going to be there. You've got a major hurricane off the east coast of the United States. You're going to have rip currents, period. End of story. Full stop on that. So there will be some pretty nasty little swells and rip currents occurring along the east coast and any Atlantic facing beach as this pulls up into the western portions of the Atlantic. Getting into our public advisory. Again, we have the location of Erin at 16.7 north, 51.2 west, approximately 790 miles east of the northern Leeward Islands, with the maximum sustained winds of 60 miles an hour. And for those folks that were watching last night's live stream when we went over the forecaster's discussion and intensification forecast, it had us at this point now at 65 miles an hour, and I was kind of wondering whether that was going to hold true or not. It actually surprised me that it's only 60. The center of circulation and the convection are not necessarily on top of each other. The convection is kind of segmented down into the southwestern quadrant, and we'll go over all that here in just a moment with the 5 p.m. discussion. We are moving west at 17 miles an hour, but the critical part of this is it's 280 degrees. So it is gaining back some of this latitude as it continues to move further to the west. This is 10 degrees further north than due west at 270. We're at 280. So that's going to at least gain us a little bit of latitude because we're running out of time before we reach the islands. Therefore, tropical storm watches have been issued. We are currently at 998 millibars of central pressure, and changes with this advisory. As you could see, we have them all. So, we have a tropical storm watch in effect for Anguilla, Barbuda, St. Martin, St. Barthélemy, Saba, St. Eustace, and Saint Martin. So please keep this in mind that we are probably going to see this list expand over the next 12 hours. Hazards affecting land. This is where things now we're starting to get into kind of the meat of, what Erin is potentially going to do here. Rainfall. Tropical storm Erin is expected to produce areas of heavy rainfall beginning late Friday and continuing through the weekend across the northernmost Leeward Islands, the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, as well as southern and eastern Puerto Rico. Rainfall totals of 2 to 4 inches with isolated totals of 6 inches are expected. This rainfall may lead to isolated flash and urban flooding along with landslides or mudslides. So, we're going to be keeping a very close watch on this. Wind. Tropical storm conditions are possible within the watch area by early Saturday. Therefore, all preparations need to be completed by Friday night. Surf. Swells generated by Erin will begin affecting portions of the northern Leeward Islands, the Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico by this weekend. These swells are likely to cause life-threatening surf and rip current conditions. Please consult products from your local weather office. it's gonna happen, folks. You're going to get rip currents. You don't put a hurricane a few hundred miles offshore and not get massive waves and rip currents that are associated with it. It's just that's not what occurs. I mean, the waves are definitely coming. So please, folks, if you plan on going out to the beaches here in this upcoming week along the east coast of the United States, as we get into this week, please take precautions. Monitor what the beach conditions are, and if in a double red flag, don't get in the water. So, looking at our earliest reasonable arrival time of tropical storm force winds, we still have our Friday timeline right here. This is our Friday, 8 p.m. This is our earliest reasonable arrival time of winds. We have tropical storm watches in this region right here. So it is recommended that you have all of your preparations, get all that loose stuff out off the property, get it all secured, and, trash cans, grill, whatever may be. Please get all the loose items out, trampoline, tie it down if you got one down there. But please make sure that you have those preparations completed. As you could see, the most likely arrival time of tropical storm force winds would be around sunrise, maybe just a little bit after sunrise on Saturday morning. So again, it is recommended to have your preparations in place by Friday night. Now, we're going to jump up the line a little bit, and we're going to discuss the folks here in the Turks and Caicos and the southern portions of the Bahamas. It is still too early to determine whether you are going to receive impacts indirect or not. But what we see here is that as we're getting into the day on Sunday, so maybe around noontime, maybe 2 p.m. on Sunday, it would be the earliest reasonable arrival time of tropical storm force winds here into the Turks and Caicos. It would be recommended to have all of your preparations done by Sunday afternoon. The most likely arrival time of those winds would be overnight into the very early morning hours there on Monday morning. So having those preparations completed there on Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, would be highly recommended if watches are placed in for your area. And what we're looking at right now and the size of the wind field, it is quite possible that we do see, let me get back here to the track, it is quite possible, depending on where the center of circulation runs on this cone of uncertainty, if it is running more a little bit to the left of the track, we would definitely see watches issued for portions there of the Turks and Caicos, and maybe even the southeastern and extreme southern Bahamas as well. It's a little too early to say because of the fact that it is going to make that pivot and make that turn. We're gaining latitude now, but where does the break and that hard turn make? Is it a hard turn, or is it more of a gradual run? The models are still kind of all over the place with that, and it would be irresponsible to make a prediction one way or the other. So right now, we're kind of in that wait, watch, and see and nowcasting mode for the potential of, adjustments or track trends. If we look at our tropical storm force wind speed probabilities, we definitely have our islands. We are getting into the 40 to 50% range of seeing tropical storm force winds. And that is definitely enough to trigger watches. Now, one thing that I am going to do is I want to flip this over to the 50 knot wind speed probability. This is equivalent to 58 miles an hour, 50 knots. And that is the threshold for a severe thunderstorm from the National Weather Service office. So the 58 mile an hour are those damaging winds. Those are the ones that are going to potentially cause power outages, bring some tree limbs down, and stuff like that. So as we could see, we have a 20 to 30% chance for the northernmost islands here, and then 10 to 20% chance for the rest of our watched area for these 58-mile-an-hour winds. So this is something that we'll be keeping a very close watch on. And as far as our hurricane wind speed probability goes, again, 10 to 20, all depending on exactly where this thing tracks on the cone of uncertainty. Right now, it's looking like a low chance, but it's not a zero chance, 10 to 20%. Okay, getting into the forecaster's discussion. We're just going to go ahead and we're going to read this whole thing out tonight because I think a lot of people, now that we've got watches, I think a lot of people would like to be informed with the absolute latest from the National Hurricane Center. Erin has changed little in organization during the past several hours. Conventional satellite imagery shows that the storm continues to produce strong convection near the center. However, recently received AMSR2 overpass shows that the convection is confined mainly to the southwestern quadrant and lacks well-defined banding. Satellite intensity estimates are now in the 45 to 55 knot range, and the initial intensity remains at 50 knots for this advisory. A NOAA Hurricane Hunter aircraft is en route to investigate the system this evening, providing information on the storm's strength and structure. They are attempting to get in there, get some information before 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, because that is when the initiation of the 0Z models will occur. There is little change to either the intensity philosophy or forecast since the last advisory. Erin will be in an environment of light to moderate easterly vertical shear, moving over increasing sea surface temperatures during the next 48 hours. These conditions should allow a faster rate of intensification during this time, and Erin is still forecast to become a hurricane by 24 hours. The global environment becomes less conducive after 48 hours, with the global models forecasting northwesterly shear over the cyclone as a large upper-level anticyclone develops to the west. That's different than yesterday. Despite this forecast shear, the global and regional hurricane models forecast intensification to continue, although at a slower rate during the first 48 hours. Based on these forecasts, the new intensity forecast shows steady intensification through 48 hours, followed by a slower rate of development during the remainder of the forecast period. The new forecast is an update of the previous forecast. It should be noted that there is some guidance that suggests a possibility Erin could intensify further than shown in the official forecast. Thank you, James. I will jump on that as soon as I finish the discussion here. The initial motion is now 280 degrees at 15 knots. The storm continues to be steered by a subtropical ridge to the north, and this ridge should steer the cyclone generally west-northwest during the next 3 days. After that time, the western portion of the ridge is forecast to weaken or break due to the influence of the mid-latitude westerlies over the northeastern United States. I will show you that here momentarily. This evolution should lead Erin to turning toward the northwest or north-northwest during the remainder of the forecast period, although there remains significant spread in the guidance on just how sharp this turn will be. The new forecast track is a little south of the previous track through 72 hours, and then it is nudged a little to the west of the previous track at 96 and 120 hours, due to the spread in track guidance later in the forecast period. There is still a greater than normal uncertainty about what impacts Erin may bring to portions of the Bahamas, the east coast of the United States, and Bermuda in the long range. Looking at the intensities, we are currently sitting at 60. We are expected to be a hurricane tomorrow night at our live stream. Then 105 miles an hour at 48. 115, our major hurricane here at 72, and then 120, 125 at 96 and 120 hours respectively. So a much slower rate of intensification than what had been calling for, plus the fact that the anticyclone does not develop directly over the system now. It develops just to the west of the system. And I'll show you how that plays out here just momentarily. let's jump back over here to our reconnaissance. We probably have a hurricane. Let me see here. Flight level wind 68, no, but we're definitely stronger than 60. Um, yeah, yeah, we're definitely stronger than 60. James, highlighter watch, Bubba. Don't have one yet. Highlighter watch. If they find hurricane strength winds, you will immediately see a update here with the particulars on that. The first recon mission always comes with what we call a highlighter. And a highlighter would be when we see the purple little update advisory thing pop right here. And then you'll see a disclaimer here as well. So, highlighter watch, fellas. Yeah, we're definitely on highlighter watch. Okay, taking a look at the latest from the University of Wisconsin. As we could see, it is definitely getting stronger. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We are 57 knots here, 50 knots, 59, 54 with our SATCON. This is old, as you can see here. This is 3 to 6 hours old. These three are less than 3 hours old. So, and then minimum central pressure down to 994 by the Dorvac technique. It's going to be interesting as we go forward. I will say that the rapid intensification model has kind of chilled out a little bit, somewhat, kind of. I don't know really if you want to call that chilled out, but we're looking at the potential now for rapid intensification. It's not a big potential, but we're certainly looking at it. If you look at this column right here, this represents 25 knot increase over the next 24 hours. That is not technically rapid intensification. It requires 30 knots in 24 hours or 35 miles an hour over a 24-hour period. That rapid intensification potential sits at about a 1 in 5, 1 in 4 chance. But if we run this out and we look 55 knots in 48 hours, 65 knots in 72 hours, there are still some signals there as well. So it's things we're going to have to watch, folks. It's Erin's not been playing nicely. I mean, like the track, or at least the generalized forecast track, has been pretty good. But it's those little intricacies that make a huge difference that it's very difficult to tell. And right now, I mean, we are definitely expecting that northern turn, but when? How far west does it get? It's a question that we don't know yet. So looking at our trends, so we're using Brian Tang's website here from the University of Albany, and we noticed that the GFS has been trending westward. The last 4 runs hasn't been that significant, but it turns around and all 4 of them seem to kind of match back up later on down the road. So it swings it out maybe just a little bit further to the west and then brings it back. Now, if it wants to run this 70 line here and get past Bermuda running at about 70, maybe this is a little bit cutting it just a tad bit too close, but that is going to be our primary number, is 70 degrees west. You guys need to remember that number. We would like to be as close to that number as possible when we're going north, because that spares Bermuda and it also spares the east coast of the United States. So 70, folks, is our big number. That's the one we want. As you can see with some of the Euro, some of the recent run, one of them way off to the left. This would have been too close. Got it closer to 75, and as you can see, land starts at about 75 for the United States East Coast, especially when we get up here towards Delaware and Maryland area. Now, this would obviously keep Bermuda safe, but it's getting 72, 73. So at that point, a little uncomfortably close. I would like to see 70 straight up. The UK met about 71, 72, and then cuts it back. Kind of goes around Bermuda, spares Bermuda any direct impacts. The Canadian model has been shifting steadily to the west, has spared Bermuda, is getting maybe 68, 69 degrees. Like I said, if we can run it right on 70, get it up to about 34, 35, and then just hard turn that thing to the right, at a 45-degree angle. That would be best, because then we could also potentially avoid Canada as well. Now, the H Wharf, as you can see, the H Wharf has been trending a little bit closer and closer to the islands. This is not necessarily the best look that we're looking here. We would like to see this cross 20 prior to 60, but unfortunately it is getting down into the no-no zone, like we like to call it. If we look at the intensity, Cat 4. Been running Cat 4 pretty much run after run after run. The HMON, for comparison, shifting south and further to the west. If we take a look at the intensity, again, Cat 4. We run the TC coamps south and to the west. If we run Cat 4, and potentially even Cat 5 in its most recent run, and borderline Cat 5 with its current run. That's not out of the question. Halves A. Now, Halves A has been a scary one over a couple of the runs. Keeps getting just a little bit too close to these islands. I do not like this. For the folks and even the Turks and Caicos, this is in the Southern Bahamas, this is too close. It really is. And look, it is well past 70 and still going to the northwest. It hasn't turned. This is a concern, folks. Halves A is definitely a concern. And as you can see, of course, like the rest of them, at least Cat 4. Halves B is a little bit more optimistic. It has a little bit more of a northerly component, well past 70 though. And with its intensity, you guessed it, Cat 4. Now, the two previous runs were Cat 5. It's come back down to Cat 4, 140, 145 miles an hour, somewhere in that range. Now, if we take a look here, we can look at the HCCA. This is one of the consensus models, as you could see here. The consensus model does have a little bit of a westerly drift right here. And though the most recent run gets it up here and runs it pretty well up 70, maybe 71, but then this cut back like this, it's too close. That would definitely give us that would give us warnings at that point. That would certainly drop warnings on Bermuda. Okay, now if we go to the TVCN and we look at that model, if you notice that we've got the trend to the south and to the west here, but then when we get into this area here, this has all been really, really running, very close to 70. And honestly, this would be the ideal track, even though this turn right here, a little bit too close. Because you figure with the center of circulation and the counterclockwise flow of the storm itself, this, as the storm passes by, you're going to catch this inflow. And you're definitely going to see some indirect impacts. No question about that. That close, definitely, you're going to get watches. Now, we're going to take a look at the ensemble models, and the ensemble models are showing quite a bit of optimism. This is the Euro Legacy, and as you can see here, we have uno model right there that makes contact. Now, there are a few here that are uncomfortably close. This would definitely lead to some impacts here on the east coast of the United States, some indirect impacts, but only one makes direct landfall, which is 1 out of 50. You're looking at a 2% chance. You're not going to put your money down on a 1 out of 50 chance. You're not going to go basically like quote unquote all in on a 1 out of 50 chance. It's just not going to happen. And right now the guidance is, pretty solid. We just don't know from east to west. That's the problem. We know we're going to get the turn. Where? How hard are we going to turn? Now, if we take a look here, this is the Euro AI. This is over the next 10 days. And as you can see, there are a couple more that maybe get it out a little bit too far and clip the, extreme eastern portions of North Carolina. But there's also something else that I need to point out. Looky there. We have a little bit of a signal right here. And knowing what the weather patterns are going to be, that's what you're going to end up seeing. So if that does fire off, you guys remember what I was telling you yesterday. We got to watch here for day 8. And now, 2 days later, we got a signal here. I'm telling you, folks, we got to watch it. We are coming into, hey, Amanda, you could bet on 0 on roulette, but keep in mind, that's still not 1 in 50. A roulette table only has 36 numbers plus your 2 greens, so you're 1 in 38. So you may go all in on a 0 or a double 0, but also keep in mind that the odds would be even worse, talking about this. And, okay, all right, so we accidentally clicked on 15 days. Take a look. That's where the steering currents are. But keep in mind that we're in la-la land, so don't believe what you see. Just monitor. And to cap it all off, we have the GEFS 12Z ensembles. And as you can see, we still, again, have a couple out here that get a little bit uncomfortably close. But for the majority of the guidance, we're right down the pipe. So, and Bermuda is right there. So if we can run this like this, look, takes it right off, and we don't touch. There's no Azores impact. There's no Newfoundland impact. No Nova Scotia impact. Hey, this would be ideal if we could just get it to run. Just work with us. Come on. Come on, hurricane season. You've beat us down over the last few years. Just give us a break. Give us one. So, jumping over to the Google DeepMind, as you can see here, the Google DeepMind is well to the east. Unfortunately, it is maybe a little bit uncomfortably close with a few of these ensembles here. But if it could run the gap, hey, as you could see, that would take it out, and we'd be good to go. It'd be more of a United Kingdom Ireland issue in probably about 2 weeks, but it certainly wouldn't be a major hurricane by that point in time. Now, as we can see here, we do have some signals from the Google DeepMind as far as Invest 98L is concerned. Nothing brings this up to a hurricane. There's a few of them that bring it into a moderate or minimal tropical storm speed, but it has very, very limited amount of time. Okay, I'm going to turn on the rest of the ensembles so everybody can see here that the Euro and the other Google DeepMind, their original model here, their next gen, Weather Next Gen, as you can see, a very, very good clustering and agreement on this turn. So, hey, folks, that's what we hope for. It really is. That's the best that we can get. Now, jumping over to Earth Null. We're going to hit the now on this. And we are going to first zoom into Invest 98L to show everybody that surface, not so much. There was a little bit of a signal there earlier, but the 850 has a little something going with it. So it is something that we have to watch. And as you can see exactly where this is going. The winds are taking it right there. It's not going to deviate from that. And as we take a look at the 700 millibar level, as you can see, this feature really has a circulation at this point. So it is still primarily mid-level. Um, so we'll just have to kind of wait and see. That Invest 97 or 98L is being steered by this high pressure feature right here. So, and this high pressure feature is what's keeping Erin from deciding that it wants to get a little further to the west. This is what's protecting Florida from impacts. Okay, let's jump out over here to Erin, and we are going to come to the now. We're going to drop down to the surface. We're going to put a trusty green circle there, and we're going to zoom way out tonight. And the reason is that we're going to come up to the 500 millibar level. This is approximately 3 miles, maybe 3.5 miles above the ocean surface. And the reason that we're showing this is because it kind of highlights everything that is working with Erin right here. We have our high pressure right here. We have our other high pressure right here. And I will circle this one. Get into that. There's kind of another lobe of it out here as well. You can already see there's a little bit of shear coming in this way right here, but you can already start to see this break. Now, I got to zoom out even more, or we've got to come up here into the northern portions, because what we want to look at is the jet stream, all right? The jet stream, and what folks may know is the polar vortex. So, what we're looking at is this low right here. This low, this is a trough that's kind of induced a little bit of weakening, and you'll see it a little bit there as well. This has induced a little bit of weakening, but it is this feature here that is going to be the main player. Now, as I continue to run this forward, please keep in mind that way down here, this is where Erin is. Erin, while we decide to go forward on this, Erin will make its turn like this, and in response to what this does. So let's go ahead and run this forward. This is the GFS. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. That's 24 hours. 1, 2, 3. There is 48 hours. 1, 2, 3. There's 72 hours. And now it should be very, very clear to see exactly what we're looking at. Look at this massive low pressure here and how it dips down like this. You see the high pressure is eroded back over this way. We've got our high right here. We've got Erin right here. We've got our other high pressure that's kind of right here. So it has no choice but to turn. None. We got another little short wave of energy right there as well that is going to be propagating up the line associated with this one, and propagating up the line with the trough coming back that is compressing this high pressure right here. Okay, now we're going to run this forward again. One more 24-hour run. 1, 2, 3. Now it has become extremely clear. We've got our big system here, negatively tilted trough. Okay, you've got all of this here. The weakness exists here, kind of the path. You've got your other high pressure right in this ridge right here. The storm is not going to want to go through this. And then you've got your other high pressure here. Kind of goes around like that, and is like that. Erin's going this way. It's not avoidable. All right, so it's certainly not a Florida threat. No, and that's all we can go as far as Earth Null is concerned. So hopefully this provides a little bit of clarity, and a little bit of understanding for folks as to exactly what is expected to transpire. This is the 700 millibar level. This is approximately 2 miles above the ocean surface. And as you can see, again, we have our high here, and it's wide open. Your break is right there. It's right there. So, we're hoping for the best, folks. We really, really are. We are really, really hoping for the best. All right, let's check back on our recon mission. See what we got. We've come out, and now we're making the left. Definitely got a strong flight level tropical storm force wind field. It's definitely there. Let's see. And unfortunately, what we're missing is this graphic right here, because this one is the surface wind and rain rate, and we don't. I want that one. That would tell us everything we need to know, because then we could see the flight level compared to down to the surface. We got any drop songs? Yes, we do. Okay, 2 should be, let's see, 2, 6, 8. I want 8. Okay, how we look at this now, if you guys remember, we're showing all the different levels right here: 700, 850, 925. As you can see, we do have a good humidity amount and some decent winds there, and then they give you your height in meters as well. So meters, 39 inches, 40 inches per meter, just a little over a yard. And we don't have a great amount of wind here with drop saw number 8. Let's take a look. Let's go back. And let's try 6. This would have been in the quote-unquote eye of the system. Probably missed a little bit. North-northeast at 23 knots. Probably not directly into the center of circulation. Let's check 2. And a good amount of moisture. This is the one component that I'm noticing, is that this is staying steady with every single drop zone that we look at, are these humidity values. Well above 70-75% that is needed for a good tropical cyclone. So, again, things that we are going to have to watch more and more. Now, our dust. This is going to play a factor as we go forward, especially next week. That with our spot down there, potentially coming across the Caribbean. That spot that I circled there was Erin. I'm going to go ahead and push play on this, let everything just kind of rotate out and go along. And as you could see, once we get to, this is day 6. All right, look at this dust right here. Now, we knew to keep an eye on it for day 8 yesterday, which would be day 7 today. There's still a good amount of dust here. And it's going to be difficult for anything to really get its act together there. But then we start to lose some of the, kind of the thickness of the dust at this point in time, kind of the depth of it. And we'll just have to watch it. It's that time of year, folks. We just got to watch everything. I mean, you just watch the entire basin, but we're not out of, the entire dust season just yet. So, again, I'm going to show this. I've been showing this every night now, especially since we're dealing with Erin. We've got the Euro Legacy here on the upper left, the Euro AI on the upper right, and the GFS in the bottom left. I am going to highlight each one of them, show Erin, and confirm with Erin with the high pressure anchored right to the north. All 3 models agree. That's what you look for. You look for congruence. You look for agreement within all the different models. And then if they're all agreeing, then you can be pretty confident with it. It might not be a guarantee, but you could be kind of confident with it. So as we run this out, we're here at 72 hours. We are already beginning to see the break. Our high pressure right here, starting to get that lane and that channel open due to this low here. We've got a low there, and we've got that low there. High broken, high broken. Okay, just to kind of give everybody an idea of what we were looking at. All three models, 72 hours, all three models, pretty good agreement, pretty good location with everything. A slight deviation here and there, but for the most part, they're all in pretty good agreement. Now we're going to jump this out to day 4. Then as you can see, day 5. And depending on, now we're starting to get a little bit of variance. This is a little bit stronger, this low pressure, than is what's called for the euro. The GFS has it a lot stronger. And this is what allows the GFS to get out a little bit further. As you can see, the GFS, all of them are pretty much in kind of alignment with where this should be. But as we run this forward, the GFS is let's go day 7. The GFS is ahead of schedule as far as ejection is concerned compared to what we have with the euro on both. All right, the GFS has a much tighter turn, and really in response to how strong that low pressure is compared to that one and that one. So that's where we're at. Okay. No, Christy, not really. They can kind of influence it a little bit. They can kind of push on it a little bit here and there. But as far as like moving and steering the whole thing, no. They usually do. They kind of bounce off of each other. They like to repel one another, high pressure, low pressure. Okay, taking a look at our wind shear. Now, as we run this forward, we can see that if we get out to about 72 hours, this is where things become interesting because this is where we had some change from yesterday. The location of the system is here, but the upper level anticyclonic high is there, and that's what's pushing down the northwesterly wind. And the euro is here, and again, potentially that northwesterly wind with the upper level anticyclone building just to its west. So this is going to be very finicky as to exactly is it underneath it, because the exhaust from this system may kind of help kind of pull this, and they kind of combine to one another. And then if that happens and the upper level anticyclone is sitting over the top of that storm, your intensities are going straight through the roof. Game on. Rapid. Rapid. That's the name of the game. Rapid. Okay, taking a look at our daily MJO update. As we can see here, we are solidly into portions of phase 2. And we are on our way to phase 3. We live in this area here. And the MJO is heading towards the other side of the planet. It can stay over there too. The Global Tropics Hazards Outlook, we get these every Tuesday, as you can see, for August 20th through the 26th. Let me get rid of this thing down here. We've got a spot, main development region, we're going to have to keep a very close watch on. And then again for the 27th through the 2nd. It's almost like we're heading into peak season. It's because we are. And as you can see, week 3, oh boy, out here in the Western Pacific, here we go. Again, peak season. And where we're at from yesterday compared to today and what we still have left with hurricane season, we're not even to the climatological peak. That is September the 10th. We are little under a month away. The August 11th through the 20th tropical and subtropical cyclone points of origin, as we could see here, from 1851 to 2024, we had 152 points of origin throughout the entirety of the Atlantic Basin. As we go further in time, we now are up on the following 10 days, up to 207 and a much more wider area of origin points. And not to mention that the Eastern Pacific gets to 110. But they only go from 1949 to 2024. So that is, both basins should see development and potentially more than one within that 10-day period. Now, that is climatological. That's not a forecast. Okay, now, for the folks there in the islands, if you guys want any more information on the islands, as you can see, we have Antigua and Barbuda. You could get to Bermuda, you could get to the Bahamas. We've got the Turks and Caicos down here. We've got the U.S. Virgin Islands. We've got the British Virgin Islands. They're all here, folks. If you guys need any information that is localized to that region, please, by all means, jump on to the database. This will be the home screen that you see. Scroll down, click North America, and there they all are. Okay. All right, Betty. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you tomorrow, dear. We jump out to the Eastern Pacific. I've got some good news. Eastern and Central Pacific, we have nothing, and we have nothing. To top it all off, all we've got is an area of interest for a subtropical system out here into the Western Pacific. So, hey, right now, all we have on the board is this. Invest 98L and Erin. So, we'll be back again tomorrow night. If you guys got any questions, please feel free and ask away. We'll give one more shot to Recon here before we go. James said that we've got another core punch coming. I ain't getting nothing, Bubba. I haven't gotten an update yet. But I've got some stronger winds out here onto the northern side. So, yeah, we're definitely going to get some watches. Okay. 10, 15 minutes. Nah, Bubba, looking at where they're at here and where that center is, it's probably going to be maybe another hour before you get that second punch. All right, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and shut it down here for tonight. I will be back live here on Facebook and YouTube again tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central with the latest. And if I see anything, I do have to work tomorrow morning. So if this thing does try to fire up tomorrow night, I'll do my best to try to get some information out. I know the team will also be there, but we're also talking about like 5 o'clock in the morning. So I'm not too sure how many team members are going to be awake at that point. And I could probably safely say on a Friday at 5 a.m., I'm going to be the only one awake. So I do have to work in the morning. So if I get an opportunity, I will try to keep my eyes on this as best as I can, but I will definitely be here tomorrow night at 6 p.m. So, all right, everybody, have a wonderful evening, and we will talk to you again tomorrow night. Good night.